All right, folks, we're going to talk about the jab. We're going to go through the techniques of the jab in boxing, the jab, and we're also going to touch on the cross, so your power shot, the straight punch, whether you're a lefty or righty, and then we'll touch on a little bit the 1-2, so your classic combo of a jab and then your cross. And there are a lot of videos out there, some that are very brief and some that are thorough. Have a look at a bunch of them because a lot of stuff is really good and classic. And then, use all of that info to kind of get a nice picture of what you want. I'm not going to go into a tremendous amount of detail, but I am going to go into whatever footage I have right here. And I'm going to keep with the theme that it's not overly complicated, and you've seen heaps of my training and stuff and me doing the jabs and the punches. Have a look at the video of the basic video I did or whatever of how to punch, and that's going to run through a lot of fundamental mechanics to your punch, whatever it is, whether you're doing a cross, a jab, or a hook. There are a couple of fundamental things that you want to adhere to, and some of them are not to overextend and to have somewhat of your balance. The jab, like a bunch of your punches, there's going to be a range of whether you want of how much shoulder you're going to use, how much hips, legs, how much twisting and torquing you're going to do, and how much you're going to rotate your fist when you're doing the punch, and stuff like that. And you can use a combination of all of those elements and stuff, so there's not really one specific right or wrong. You can be very much like the textbook, or you can be modified from the textbook, and you can follow a certain particular theory or school of some keeping the shoulders level and not tilting, keeping the head level and not lurching forward or back, and or whether you raise your lead foot in your sparring stance or whatnot, or you raise your rear foot, or you do a combination of either one when you're punching, whether you're stepping when you're punching, when you're doing the jab, or any of your punches, stepping forward or whatnot. All of those things are legitimate options for you to do, and explore all of them and stuff. Okay, so the jab, as you see here, what I'm doing is I'm showing you versions of the rotation. I'm showing you versions of the level 2. Ultimately, or one of the important fundamental things is when you throw out your punch to bring it back. The punch is not complete until it comes back. So don't have it hanging out there, especially for beginners and those people who are learning, or when you're trying to practice or learn good habits. Throw the punch, but don't drop the punch after you throw it too much. It can have a little bit of action of lowering when you bring it back if you want and stuff, but the ultimate practice is wherever you keeping your hands, whether it's completely low or not, after you punch, bring them back. So don't get into the habit of them taking their time to come back to you because you threw the punch and now you're admiring it, or just daydreaming on the way back and thinking of whatever next you're going to do and stuff. And you'll see me doing that from time to time. You'll see all of us doing that from time to time. Yeah. So in this demonstration that I'm showing you here, I'm going to try not to focus too much on a lot of head movement before or after, but you're going to feel a natural need or desire, or your body's naturally going to feel a little bit of movement or whatever. Then allow that to happen. We're going to work on the head movements and stuff on the drills that come after this video. So here I'm not going to focus too much on that. So I'm going to keep the head kind of pretty much level and throw the punch. And what you see here, another fundamental that we're going to try to really adhere to, is to not have a sweeping hooking motion or too much of a hooking motion. Definitely not a sweeping or hooking motion for the most part of the arm. There's a couple of different versions of the jab. There's the straight or the stiff jab. There's a snapping jab. There's a little bit of a hook to your fist in the jab versions. There's crushing jabs, smashing ones, there's downward ones, there's rising ones and stuff. And a lot of that is born from the tactics of boxing, the art of boxing and stuff. So you got to keep in mind, if you're making contact with your opponent's defense, their guard, how you strike that guard can move their guard a bit. And also you can lead them to bringing their guard in a certain way. So smashing upwards or hitting downwards could shift or shove the guard just enough when you follow up with your next punch. Some of your jabs will be just feelers, distance, setups. They will act as fakes and feigns and all kinds of things like that. So you may throw a quick jab, which doesn't have your body rotating a lot, and you maintaining your stance position, whether you like your sparring stance to be a little bit more toward the 45 or offline, or whether you like to actually square up to your opponent. There's no real right or wrong in those styles either. There's pros and cons to each one. Whatever, but whatever your stance is, I do a little less than a 45. I don't do a tradition. I don't think, but I play with all of them because they're fun and stuff. So you may just throw a jab that's mostly arm or at least doesn't have your body rotating a lot. And then there are other jabs where you do have a lot of rotation. Now that rotation may be a twisting circular torque rotation, or it could literally be a more pronounced body shift, so that the shoulder is rotating and stuff like that. And so play with them, and there's heaps of videos where you see me playing with those rotations and body positions, and get comfortable with them. They don't only occur in any isolated, rarely, or probably most accurately, there are no isolated movements. There's always a combination of body parts and stuff happening or active in any of your movements. So try to get comfortable with them, try and get familiar with them, and then play with them. All right. Your cross, your power shot, your straight, your rear, whichever is not the lead. So whatever foot is facing forward, whichever foot is facing back, so that your shoulder is back and that fist is also further back. It's not the lead one, okay? That punch, that fist, whatever. When you throw that, similar concepts and stuff. You can throw a real straight one. You can have a little bit of a looping effect to it, okay? Not too much of a looping effect, because then you're moving more into a hook. Your fists can completely rotate. They can rotate a little bit. They don't have to rotate at all. Shoulder, and your shoulder is always going to be involved, but how much of it is going to be involved? How much will it tilt? How much will it lurch forward? That's on you. You can throw snapping ones. You can do complete crushing ones or heavy ones or a follow through. You can have a downward motion. You can have an upward motion, really cross sideways motions and stuff. Ultimate thing is when you throw your cross, bring it out, make to hit, and get into the habit of bringing it right back. Even if you're going to keep it low, bring it right back low. From there, we practice the 1-2, and you want to go slow, get comfortable and stuff. And one of the key factors of good and bad habits about your 1-2 punch, the combination, the jab and then the cross, is when you throw the jab, because we're focusing a lot and we're preparing, and we know mentally and instinctively that the right is going to come, or the cross, whether you're a righty or a lefty, that your cross is going to come. We then forget about the jab after we throw it. And so the jab kind of can linger out there, or that lead punch, or come back a little sloppy, come back a little low as we're focusing and making sure that that cross comes out really nice. So get into the habit of being able to execute your lead and then bring that lead back fast and proper as you're throwing out your cross, and bring it back to different guard positions too, whether you want to come low with your elbows tucked to protect your ribs and your kidneys and stuff like that, and or you want to keep it a little bit higher so to protect your chin and stuff. Get into the habit of having good guards when you're throwing either one of yours. Don't get sloppy with the other hand, and make sure that your fists are tight, okay, while you're doing this and stuff like that, or at least in a good guard position of whatever you're used to for your hands if you're doing sports and whatnot. The thing that you're going to practice in the beginning is you're going to practice your coordination and your flow. And also you're going to practice the speed, the timing. But I don't mean just the speed of both of your punches independently or overall. I also mean the speed, the interval of the actual hit. So let's say you throw the jab and it hits the target, and then it's 1, 2, and then your right's coming along, and then your cross comes, and then your cross hits the target. What you want to do is you want to practice and train so that it's boom, boom. So that the striking interval is a 1-2, a very nice classic 1-2. Obviously, when you're just learning and stuff, you're going to be a little bit slower, and so you might go 1 and then 2, and that's quite all right. But you'll be training and practicing so that at some point you want to get that boom, boom, 1-2, bam, bam. Not too much, and then as well, you're going to practice a combination of that, playing with the timing. Sometimes it's a delay. Sometimes you hit with the jab and then you delay just a little bit extra, or you throw a feint or something before the following up with your cross. Another big thing that you're going to always be practicing with any of your punches are your head position and where your head is before, during, and after. And we're going to touch on this on the drills that are coming up after this video and stuff. But while you're learning the jab and getting comfortable with it, it is important to keep that in mind and stuff. And during your practices of your individual punches, okay, it's very simple. Just imagine, okay, that you have an opponent in front of you, and they're not just going to stand there, they're also throwing punches at you. So you may have to slip to the left or right or a little bit forward your head movement and get out of the way and then punch, right? You may also need to be getting out of the way as you punch, and you may need to get out of the way after you punch. That's it. It's that simple. Keep in mind those 3 classic conditions and circumstances during your sparring and during any type of combat and stuff. And sometimes there's delayed. So you may throw the punch and then you watch and keep that confidence and watch your opponent and then get out of the way. So practice, which is, yeah. So practice all of those type of things, and we're going to touch on that in the drills. All right, so now that you have the jab and you're comfortable throwing your little 1-2 combo, the classic 1-2 combo, let's go take a look at some drills for us.